Warning: this video contains spoilers. If you haven't watched the movie yet, we highly recommend you to do it before going on with the vision. Since its very beginning, one of the main purposes of cinema has been to make people dream. Through their movies, the authors show people fantastic and amazing places where the audience may wish to be someday, and narrate tales about wonderful and incredible lives that most of us can only dream to live. For a century, Hollywood has been a factory of dreams, where the fantasies and the ideas of writers and directors take life, becoming itself a dream place for anyone that aspires to have a future in the glittering world of the cinema industry. It is in fact Hollywood, the set of Mulholland Drive by David Lynch. The plot of the movie might be confusing on a first look, but it is deep and meaningful. The movie seems to be an ensemble film, following the point of view of different characters. A brunette girl that is going to be killed by two men on Mulholland Drive in Hollywood is saved by a terrible car crash that makes her lose her memory. She wanders through the streets until she takes shelter in the apartment of an actress who is leaving for a movie. The apartment is supposed to be occupied by Betty, a blonde girl that is going to stay in LA for a while to pursue her dream to become an actress. When she finds the brunette, instead of calling the police, she becomes her friend and helps her to regain her memories. But during their investigations, they get more and more attracted to each other. In a short story of a few minutes, two men in a diner are talking about a scary nightmare that one of them had about a very evil hobo living in a backyard. When they are going to check if he is there or not, he suddenly appears, scaring the narrator to death. Another brief story follows the deeds of a bungling hitman that accidentally kills 3 persons to steal a notebook. The other main story of the first part of the movie is the one of Adam Kesher, an inept director that is getting pressure from the mafia to choose the actress they suggested to play the role of the main female character in his movie. After his refusal, the producers close the set. He finds his wife lying with another man, and his bank warns him that he has no more money left. To get out of this situation, he must meet the cowboy, a man who imposes him to choose the suggested actress to end his problems. Meanwhile, after a perfect audition for a movie, Betty and the brunette find the dead body of a woman in a house they were investigating. After this shocking experience, they eventually become lovers, and after a night of passion, they go to the club Silencio, a theater open at night. During the show, the presenter warns the audience that what they are seeing and listening to is all an illusion, a very important hint to the movie audience. After a tearful exhibition of a singer that passes out on the stage, while the song keeps going on in playback, making us remember what we heard about the illusion, the girls find a mysterious blue box in their bag. Once back home, they open the box with a blue key, revealing a black pit inside it, where the camera falls in. Then, the truth of the events is revealed to us. All we have seen so far was Betty's dream, whose real name is Diane. She lives in the house where the dead woman was found. We are shown that Diane and Camilla, the real name of the brunette, had a relationship that ended in a bad way, although Diane is still obsessed with Camilla. One night, Camilla, that is a famous actress, invites her to a party in the house of Adam Kesher on Mulholland Drive. During the party, we meet the different characters that we have seen in the dream, but in real life they are little or not at all involved with the main characters' lives. Then we learn that Diane is a failed actress that never managed to obtain a main role, that Camilla left her to stay with Kesher, and that the couple is planning to get married. Full of grudge and envy, Diane hires the hitman we saw in the dream to kill Camilla, but the regret for what she has done and the failure of her life are too strong, and obsessed by hallucinations, she takes her life with a gun. Mulholland Drive narrates a noir story of love, regret, and grudge. But like all other David Lynch's works, this is only the surface. This movie, which has been considered the best film of the 21st century, is more than this. It is a love letter to the classical Hollywood of the Golden Age, that is represented by Sunset Boulevard by Billy Wilder. Both are important alleys in LA, and an allegory of the Hollywood star system. Diane's dream, the first part of the movie, represents the Hollywood dream that took a lot of people all around the world. Diane's alter ego in the dream, Betty, is the stereotype of the pretty and silly girl that flies to Los Angeles with a dream of becoming an actress, full of hopes and happiness. And she's very different from the real Diane, who is a depressed woman that only acted in minor roles but never became famous. Her envy for Camilla, who took the role she dreamt of, was hidden by the love she felt for her, but also that had a bad ending. And we all know that love, rotting, becomes grudge. The movie itself becomes a dream within a dream. Diane was living a dream that became a nightmare, and her only way to get out of this awful situation was only by dreaming again. In the allegory of the dream world, where she was living the life she desired, where she was still in love with her Camilla, and where the life of the man who took her away was awful, every secondary character represents something else. The mafiosi and the mysterious dwarf represent the strong powers that control the star system, while the cowboy, the strong arm of the mafiosi, is the representation of the injustice that made Kesher choose Camilla for the main role instead of Diane, and the only reason behind this decision. She justifies herself, thinking that she was discarded not because of her acting abilities. In her dreams she is indeed an excellent actress, but because someone else had manipulated the casting. The old couple can be a representation of the guilt she was feeling and that led her to take her life. The hobo hiding in the Winkies, the same place as she hired the killer, may represent her dark and cruel side, her obsession and grudge, and the death of the man in the backyard could be a premonition of what the evil action will lead her to, while the mad old lady called Louise can be the link that the sense of guilt is putting in a dream to remember her that what's happening is not real. Mulholland Drive is not a movie that has a single interpretation. Lynch himself refuses to tell what he wanted to narrate, stating that everyone should have his point of view, and that it is very limiting to give a univocal explanation to a movie. With his filmography, he always told us that the story we witness and what we see superficially isn't everything, and that also the cinematography, the mise-en-scene and the music are as essential as the plot, or sometimes more than that, and with what is probably his masterpiece, he has been able to give at each of these elements the same relevance. What do you think about Mulholland Drive? What is your interpretation of the movie, and what meaning do you give to the scenes of the film? Let us know in the comments. See you in the next video. Ciao a tutti.